Hi, my name is Rosanto, and this is my review of Rogue Stormers for the Xbox One. This review is in partnership with BigBossBattle.com, and they have kindly provided me the code from developer Black Forest. As with all my reviews, this is 100% my own opinion, and I'm not being paid for it. So what is Rogue Stormers? Well, Rogue Stormers is an action platformer with randomly generated levels, persistent perk unlocks, a Dark Souls sort of like structure, and a mashup between fantasy and sci-fi. So overall it sounds like it's ticking a lot of boxes. You're probably wondering what I mean by a Dark Souls like strategy. Well, this game contains a permadeath, meaning you start back from the beginning after dying. And because the levels are procedurally generated, it's pretty hard to learn the layout. The game consists of 7 stages and 5 characters unlocked. It also supports an online co-op, a LAN co-op, and an online multiplayer. Basic premise of this story is that goblins have taken over the city, and it's your job to clean up and get it back. And this leads me on to the gameplay. This is a 2D platforming, kind of mixed in with a twin stick shooting. Now this can be quite hectic, mostly due to difficult train navigation and the numerous possible dead ends you can be backed into, especially when the inclusion of traps need to be closely timed or dodged past safely. Vertically though, the game allows some platforms to be jumped through or dropped down upon, allowing for quick movement. Though many encounters revolve around staying put, keeping the air clear of smaller goblins and jumping over enemy bullets while pumping round after round into the bigger guys. This can slow it down the pace a little bit, but it's actually a good idea to make sure you wipe out the entire map, because you may have to backtrack, and sometimes this can be an absolute pain. As I said, there are 5 total characters to unlock, and you do this by completing certain stages. Now each of these characters have their own stats, special power and weapons. Now Rogue Stormers permanently powers up characters individually, and this is done by the players collecting XP throughout the game. Once you've got to a certain level, you get a random perk. Well, actually you get a choice of random, 2 random perks, but you get to choose one, and this is stuck with your character, so choose carefully. Whilst you're going through the game though, you can pick up a secondary weapon, and this can be used as often as you like depending on the cooldown it has. Also, there are particular other little stats you can pick up, which will boost certain areas of your character. However, once you die, these stats and the secondary weapon are lost, and you start back again with your basic stats and your permanent perk which you have achieved. The single player campaign is really fun, but also exceptionally hard, and this is mostly due to the fact that the health drops are very sparse and don't happen as often as I'd like it. I think for the casual gamer this could be very frustrating. For those who are like used to the PC version of like Rogue games, they know exactly where they're going to go for. But for the casual gamer, I think the developer would have been better if they could have put in potentially a second chance option, because sometimes the enemies can be so overwhelming that you just literally die so quickly that you don't get a chance to gain the XP, or you feel like you're grinding too. For me, the game truly shined when playing co-op, and this will either be online or LAN. The game is fantastic here. It allows each person to spread out enough to see each other, but not too far so that you can't spot where your other character is. Also, it also allows you to, if one person dies, you collect enough health packs and you can resurrect him. Something I really think, as I said, should have been done in the single player, just to give us casual gamers a bit of a chance. I would recommend the casual gamer not to really go into the single player, but start off in the co-op, because this is where you're going to enjoy it the most, and it also means you can level your character up a lot easier, and then go back into single player and really try and bash it out on yourself. The co-op here is perfect. It works smoothly. There is no issues whatsoever, and it's been thought out 100%. However, don't think this is going to make it easier. It just gives you that bit more breather to check your health gauge and counter attacks. It also means that you both can basically step apart and attack the main boss or bigger bosses from different angles, which is a really helpful tactic in some cases. And this brings me on to the graphics of the game. This 2D platform has been drawn beautifully. The colours are so vibrant and clear. Everything just basically jumps out at you, from the weapons to the fire to the backgrounds to the actual platform itself. The background images are beautifully drawn. The actual models themselves are perfect, and there is no frame rate issues whatsoever when you're playing multiplayer. The only problem I do have with the graphics on this is when you do actually play with multiplayer, and I play generally on a very large screen, around about 49 inches. However, when you have 2 people or 3 people or even 4 people, it's hard to identify your character, and this can be a real problem. So when you've got 4 people in it, or even 2 people, it's just so much a mass of bullets, you can't actually see your character or define it easier what you're shooting at. I think this can be pretty much solved, but maybe just changing the colour of your weapons. For instance, as you can see, the character on the right hand here is blue, maybe change his firing to blue. The character on the left is orange, change his fire character orange. But generally the graphics here are superb and one that they are joy to behold. So what about the sound? Well, the sound has also been well thought out. Every individual weapon is different. The flamer does sound like flamer, the actual assault rifle does sound like assault rifle. Everything here has a punchy feel to it. The actual background music is not too loud, but enough to give you a little bit of a mood feel when things start going haywire. The little pickups and their little perk sounds are lovely to hear. Generally this has been a surprise for me, because when I was putting on my headset, the sounds actually helped me determine where certain big bosses were going to come from, like the bigger bosses, and that helped in terms of the actual gameplay. So yes, the sound here has been done exceptionally well, and I think they should be very proud of themselves in this respect. And this leads me onto the rating of the game. Now, I rate games in order of avoid, rent, great purchase, must own. My rating for this game is rent, due to the following points. This game is a brilliant game for the hardcore player, for the guys who are out there who love Dark Souls, who love the grinding, who love to be challenged thoroughly. However, the difficulty versus the potential game is too punishing, and for the casual gamer this will become very frustrating too quickly and will stop them seeing the potential in this game, and this is where the problem lies. I feel that this needs to be updated and the difficulty needs to maybe potentially reduced so they can really show off what this game can actually do, because this is a fun game, but it was only when I was playing with co-op did I manage to realise that. And I feel that restricts the actual player base. I really hope Black Forest to update their game to have a difficulty that's more gamer friendly. Now, do you believe what I said was correct, or do you disagree? Well, there is an alternative opinion at bigbossbattle.com, so head over there and have a look. Anyway, guys and girls, have a good one, and I'll speak with you again soon.